Good evening, everyone. We're going to start the presentation in 5 minutes. We're going to allow for some people to continue to join. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll start the presentation in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's virtual public meeting for the State Road 822 Sheridan Street Bridge Rehabilitation Project in the City of Hollywood. Tonight is Thursday, January 6, 2022. I wanted to take the time to see if there's any elected officials on the line that would like to say hello. You can type your name into the chat box or click the hand raised icon. I don't see any elected officials on the line. Okay. Moving on to slide 2. So my name is Rebecca Guerrero, and I will be your moderator and presenter for today's meeting. I'm also the community outreach specialist for the project with the Corradino Group. Today's meeting format will consist of a presentation, question and answer session that will begin at 5:30 to 6, and again from 6 to 6:30. An unguided PowerPoint slideshow will play if time allows. Slide 3, the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Florida Department of Transportation is required to comply with various non-discrimination laws and regulations, including the Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Public participation is solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting either the District 4 Title VI Coordinator Sharon or the statewide Title VI Coordinator Jacqueline Paramore. All inquiries or concerns will be handled according to FDOT procedure and in a prompt and courteous manner. Moving on to slide 4. All attendees will remain muted throughout the meeting. Attendees are welcome to submit questions or comments using the GoToWebinar control panel at any time. A member of the team will respond during the question and answer session. This virtual public meeting is being recorded and it will be available afterwards on the project website as well as submitted via email to all registrants. Slide 5. So the GoToWebinar control panel should appear on the right side of your screen. The blue arrow points to the hand raised icon. To speak, click the hand raised icon, and during the question and answer session, we'll go ahead and unmute you. The red arrow points to the chat box. You can go ahead and type your question and click send. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the FDOT D4 website. Slide 6. Dial attendees are in listen-only mode and will not have the option to speak. If at any time during today's meeting you experience any technical difficulties, please contact the GoToWebinar support at 833-851-8340. Slide 7, meet the team. So presenting alongside myself, we have Tyler Fury, the construction project manager with FDOT, Al Bands, the senior project engineer with Pinnacle Consulting, Mario Sabi, he's the construction project administrator, he's also with Pinnacle. We have Humberto Arrieta, he's with FDOT Design, Alan Clevens, the engineer of record design and Trans Systems, and Eric Reed, who's also a designer with Trans Systems. Slide 8. Please enjoy the project video, which includes information on the improvements to be completed, along with the road and lane closure information. We will start the question and answer session after the video. Slide 9, project overview. The purpose of this project is to increase the service life of the bridge. The length is 900 feet, and the contractor that will be performing this work is PCL Construction, Inc. Construction is scheduled to start January 22nd, 2022. Estimated cost is $12,200,214. Contract time is 228 calendar days, plus any weather and holidays that are granted to the contractor. Estimated completion is late 2022.
Hi, my name is Tyler Fury, Construction Project Manager. This is slide 10, which highlights the project improvements. We'd be installing the bicycle-friendly and anti-slip walking plates along the movable span, removing existing curb and adding a 32-inch traffic railing between the sidewalk and roadway, removing and replacing the outer pedestrian railing, adding new pedestrian gates in each direction, renovating the existing tender house, and upgrading the electrical and mechanical components and access platforms along the bridge. This is slide 11, which shows the bridge's typical section. On the top is the existing typical section that shows the removal of the existing traffic rail, the existing sidewalks and brackets, existing curb, and the steel median. On the bottom portion of the slide will be the new typical section, where it shows the new aluminum pedestrian railing, the new aluminum anti-slip coatings, new sidewalk bracket, new steel traffic railing, new steel median, and the new proposed bike plate. The typical section will contain 5-foot wide sidewalks with 10-foot lanes, 2 lanes in each direction. This is slide number 12, which shows the renderings for the proposed bridge tender house. The existing tender house will be upgraded from 1 story to 2 stories, with the electrical, mechanical, utilities, and architectural components being upgraded to the new design standards.
Hello, my name is Mario Sabi with Pinnacle Consulting. I'm the project administrator for this project. This is slide 13. Public safety is our top priority when it comes to maintenance of traffic near work zones. Advanced warning signage will be placed throughout the construction corridor to alert pedestrians and motorists of any potential impacts at the Sheridan Street Bascule Bridge. Message boards will be placed at the eastern and western limits of the project, as well as north and south of Sheridan Street on A1A. Our team has coordinated with the following local agencies to ensure access and bus route accessibility at all times: Broward County Traffic Engineering Division, Broward County Transit, Broward County Parks, City of Hollywood, all first responders in the area, and the Coast Guard. This is slide 14. The contractor is allowed to close a single lane in each direction throughout the project limits during non-peak hours from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sunday through Thursday nights. Lane closures will be updated in the weekly traffic report distributed by FDOT. This is slide 15. To perform the major project scope of work, which is to rehabilitate and upgrade the existing electrical and mechanical components of the bridge, the contractor will be required to lock the bridge in the upright position, closing the bridge to vehicular traffic for an estimated 90-day period. This closure is tentatively scheduled for mid-April 2022 to mid-July 2022. Pedestrians and motorists will be detoured via Dania Beach Boulevard and Hollywood Beach Boulevard. Any impacts to marine traffic will be posted to the local notice to mariners as needed. This is slide 16. The 90-day closure period has an incentive-disincentive bonus structure tied to the reopening of the bridge to vehicular traffic. If the contractor is able to reopen the bridge prior to the 90th day of the closure period, they will earn a $10,000 per day bonus up to $300,000. Conversely, for every day after the 90th day of the closure in which the bridge remains closed, the contractor will be penalized $10,000 per day, up to a maximum disincentive penalty of $300,000.
Slide 17. For more information about this project, you can visit the project-specific website located at www.d4fdot.com. We also have a weekly lane closure press release that includes lane closures all throughout the county. And in order to be added to that list or the project distribution list, you can contact myself at 954-940-7605 or via email at rguerrero@coradino.com. So we've reached the question and answer session of today's meeting. You can go ahead and type in your question to the chat box and click send, or you can go ahead and click the hand raised icon. I do see here that we have somebody who has their hand raised, Frank. Frank, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you. You should be able to unmute yourself now, Frank. Okay. All right, let's see if we have any questions. Let's see, we have another hand raised. Oh, okay, we have Leonard. I'm going to go ahead and click to unmute you. Hello?
Why do you have to start? Why do you have to start in April through July when it's going to take away 3 of the primary holidays for the merchants on the beach, and also the most inconvenient time for people coming to the beach? Those are 3 of the biggest holidays of the year when most of the merchants significantly do most of their business, and the beaches have the most tourism. Why can't you change those dates rather than have to take up 3 of the most significant holidays?
So they have that tentatively scheduled for mid-April to mid-July. We're hoping to beat hurricane season because we don't want to have the closure during hurricane season. God forbid there's a hurricane and it would take longer. Also, we know that there's a lot of snowbirds that come down during the holidays. And it's typically from, I want to say, November to March. So all those things were taken into consideration when they scheduled the plans and the contract time. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Frank, okay. Frank, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. You're self-muted, so if you want to speak, you have to click unmute, Frank. Okay. Lori, you can go ahead and try unmuting yourself, Lori.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, we can hear you.
I just wanted to ask if it would be possible to put notice that the bridge is that people can't use the bridge before they when they have a chance to turn off. So like either on 14th or even up as far as A1A, so people will know that they shouldn't continue down Sheridan Street if they're trying to cross the bridge.
Yes, so that's something that we'll coordinate the MOT to make sure that people are aware that the bridge is closed, and so detour signs will be in place per contract plans to detour motorists around the bridge if somebody does decide to go that way. For the most part, people are going to be detoured to Dania Beach Boulevard Bridge or the Hollywood Beach Bridge.
Right, but we don't get notice of that until we've passed a place at which we could turn off. So if you're going to do it at a place we can, that's great. That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Frank, I see that your hand is still raised. No? Okay. Let's see.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you. Hi, Frank.
Okay. Hi. Sorry about the trouble that I had.
No.
Rebecca, just a question. The rules for the $10,000 per day incentive, okay? Last time there was an incentive. Last time we started to count the efficiency on the contractors. We had the rainy day were not counted. The hurricane days were not counted. There was a lot of exceptions. At the end of the day, there were more exceptions actually than tightness on the payment. Who's going to administer or count that they do get an incentive if the incentive, it's due to them? Okay.
So the project team will be overseeing that. The difference between this project and the project that we had previously was that the previous project didn't have an incentive or disincentive built into the contract. This project does. And so, but when it comes to, like you said, days that it rains, per FDOT standard and contract wide, they do give the contractor rain days. However, this is a 90-day period, and with the incentive and disincentive, we're hoping what occurred the last time won't happen on this project. And also we have the team if they want to add anything that I may have missed.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, so Leonard raised his hand again. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Leonard.
Yeah, to answer my question, you said you're trying to avoid the hurricane season. But if you reconsider and start right after July 4th and have your 90-day period, you'll be done in September. The real heavy hurricane season doesn't really start until then anyway. I don't know why you can't move it rather than to create such a hardship on the merchants and the people coming to the beach. You're only looking at the fact of tourism. You're not looking at the fact that the locals come to this beach. And that's a very, very good part of the business down here. So I don't think you're taking everything into consideration. And so I would like you maybe to reconsider the fact and start following the calendar down here. And, you know, as the beach really exists rather than an imagined calendar.
Gotcha. No, I understand. This project is 228 calendar days. So at some point we would be running into the high season. You know, the team is on the line if they want to go ahead and elaborate a little more on that. Maybe Al or Tyler.
Yeah. One other question. You know, when you're taking these 90 days, are you taking into consideration your supply chain problems of getting stuff? And also, how about COVID? If the guy can't get workers, does that count in his 90 days or not? Is there exceptions for that?
Those are great questions. Tyler, would you be able to answer those?
Yeah, of course, Leonard, and thank you for the question and the time. And so to highlight your first question about pushing it back to the end of July 4th, what Becky was reiterating is that, you know, hurricane season starts in the middle of May and it goes through all the way into the November. And so we did take into consideration the high season and the hurricane and ended up being the middle of April to the middle of July. And then for the 90-day incentive period, with COVID and supply chain issues, we have been in conversations with the contractor and our suppliers and have been working diligently to ensure that we're starting on time. And for right now, there's no impacts right now from COVID or supply that will be hindering our construction.
In addition, one of the other things that we took into consideration when we were scheduling the closure is the spring break scheduling and schools. So we were trying to work around that as well.
You also realize that you're running concurrently your project with the city's project, the ripping it back up the roads, you know. I mean, I think that you got to understand that you left a very bad taste in the mouth of the people down here for taking 2.5 years to do a 3-mile period of road, and especially when you hardly ever saw the contractor work.
No, I understand your frustrations, Leonard, and I think a lot of what happened on the other project was taken a lot into consideration on this project, and there were various meetings with the city. I know Commissioner Shuham was very much involved during the design process, along with, you know, the CRA. You know, I know that their project is coming up with the bearing of the FPNL lines, and that's something that we'll continue to coordinate with them when they get started, so we can minimize impacts as much as we can.
Well, I guess everyone would appreciate it. I mean, obviously it's kind of set in stone what you're going to do, but everyone would appreciate it if the guy, you know, you can do it less than 90 days, you know, because I said, you're really going over 3 major holidays and 3 major periods of time. Memorial Day is, most of the merchants there do 1/3 of the business for the month on the weekend. So it's not that you're going to be, I know the other bridges are going to be open, but it's going to be very discouraging for people to come. And we lost a tremendous amount of business over the time that road was being ripped up for those years. In fact, I think we even lost people who wanted to come to Hollywood Beach because it was so inconvenient for them.
Yeah. Well, definitely, you know, I think with the incentive and disincentive, we're hoping that, you know, the incentive will really push the contractor to finish sooner than the 90 days.
Yeah. Well, remember what T.S. Eliot said, between the idea and the reality lies the shadow. So I hope you you have contingency plans to work around that shadow.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Leonard.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so I have somebody under the name IB. I'm gonna go ahead and click unmute.
Hi, I am concerned about hurricane season since we are in a barrier island and we, A1A is basically become a commuter transit lane. And Lori, one of the people that called before, mentioned that there should be notices placed way ahead of the area of North Hollywood because of that reason. And I'm very concerned in the case of an emergency that we would have a lot of people clogging the roads and we won't be able to exit if we have to on an emergency.
That's very understandable. Luckily, if that ever gets to a point, that's something that we'll coordinate with, local police, the city, to make sure that everyone that needs to get out can. I know that during the 4th of July event, one of the things that the city does is that they use Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. I know that would funnel traffic one way and then funnel traffic the other way.
Hello, is anybody on?
I'm a panelist. I think we lost Rebecca.
Yeah, so Rebecca's having technical difficulties. So for the time being, if you want to type your question into the chat and we can just read it off of, and then we'll go from there and she'll be able to join back us. All right. So we got a question from Maria. It's from February and March are the biggest months for tourism. Are you meeting with hospitality industry businesses, including restaurants, to discuss their concerns about lane closure and tie-ups that will slow down vehicular traffic on Ocean Drive? So Maria, yes, we'll be meeting with the businesses along A1A, informing them of the expected schedule. If they have any questions or concerns regarding our maintenance of traffic, we'll meet with them individually and discuss potential solutions to mitigate the impact to their businesses. Looks like Becky's back on. Becky, we're just going over Mara's question about meeting with hospitality industry businesses, including restaurants. So if you're able to, are you able to see the questions?
Okay. You're gonna. So we have some more hand raised. Actually, we have some questions in the chat box. Let's see. We have February and March are the biggest months for tourism. Are you meeting with hospitality industry business, including restaurants, to discuss their concerns about? I'm sorry?
Yeah, we just answered that question.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, let's see the next question. What about having signs on US 1 that Sheridan Street Bridge is closed to use Hollywood Boulevard and Dania Beach bridges? Can you do that? So Tyler or Mario?
Yes, so I can answer that question. We actually do have signage. We're going to have signage on US 1, Hollywood Boulevard, and Dania Beach Boulevard, along A1A at Hollywood and Dania Beach Boulevard, and on Sheridan as far back west as US 1 to alert traffic that the bridge is out.
Okay. So just one of the things I wanted to add is that I am close communication with the Hollywood Beach Business Association, and that includes all the beaches and the president of the association. And so the plan is to meet with them and attend their meetings like I did on the A1 project, to make sure that we're accommodating the business as much as we can, and that we're coordinating with them and you know, deliveries and that sort of thing. Okay, so I see Patricia, you want to go ahead and ask a question?
I'm good. We lost you for a while, Rebecca. I'm glad you're back.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. We want to make sure that I'm going through all the questions. We already talked about February 1. Another question we have is, why does this project take so long? Mario or Tyler, I'm not sure if you guys want to answer that.
The project's duration is based off the scope of work that entails, and so the duration is based off statewide averages and the production rates, and that this department uses a formula to calculate the 228 days.
Thank you. Okay. What assurances can you give the residents north and barely south of the bridge that noise in the wee hours of the morning from 12 a.m. onward won't disturb their sleep? What recourse do we have if it is unbearable? Tyler, I'm not sure you want to answer that question, or Mario maybe?
We'll look and see if there are any noise ordinances in the city of Hollywood that will restrict us from driving sheets or anything during a certain hour of the night. But other than that, the loud operation should mostly be done during the day.
Thank you.
One of the other things that's good about this project is we don't have a lot of activities like pile driving that would be long durations for extended periods that are going to be, you know, either disturbing the ground or would be transmitting over long distances. Yes, there's some temporary sheet pile that needs to go in, but it's very, very, very small relative to the remainder of the project scope.
Thanks, Al. Another question we have, I think signage should begin as early as I-95 because many drivers need guidance before reaching Sheridan Street. Tyler, you want to take that question?
Sorry, you're breaking up. It was about signage from I-95.
Correct.
Right now, we don't have any signage along I-95, but that's a great suggestion. And so what our team will do is evaluate what we can do and act accordingly.
Thanks, Tyler. Okay, so we have another hand raised. Ivy, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. You can go ahead and unmute yourself now and speak.
Thank you. Tyler, I think it's really important because many people come by way of I-95. They get off of I-95 and then come down on I-95 to Sheridan and then come east. And most people won't know what's going on. So you need to provide more information way before because you're going to be clogging Sheridan. And, you know, all that traffic is going to be backed up all the way from I-95. So I appreciate it if you think about I-95 signage. Thank you.
No, of course, Laura. It's a great point, and we'll take that into consideration.
Thank you, Tyler.
No problem.
Thank you. Okay, what will the tender building be rehabilitated during the nighttime hours? Because it may be considered safer. That should be pretty noisy, won't it? Al?
I couldn't hear the full question. I heard something about the tender house being rehabilitated. Could you repeat, Rebecca?
So it said that, will the tender building be rehabilitated during the nighttime hours because it may be considered safer? That should be pretty noisy.
Well, Jordan could chime in on this, but the tender house, what we're going to be doing there is we're going to be adding the second story. And there may be some periods of time when we will be doing a little bit of night work on the tender house, depending on the activities. But the bulk of the tender house will probably be taken on during the closure period, and a lot of that work will be going during the day and not at night. Jordan, do you want to expand on that as well?
You guys hear me all right?
Yeah. For the audience, Jordan is with PCL, and he's with the contractor that will be performing the rehabilitation work.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if my video's not working, but yeah, the tender house work, it's important to get that work done as much as we can in advance of this 90-day closure because it goes to everyone else's comments on the line that we want to minimize the amount of work we're doing in that 90 days. So by getting the tender house work installed first, it then allows the mechanical and electrical upgrades to be done at a quicker pace rather than putting all of that work in the 90 days. So to Al's point, a lot of it will be done during the day when allowed, but our biggest lane closure allowance is between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And that is when it'll allow us, the contractor, to do the most amount of work in a safe access situation.
Thanks, Jordan.
No problem.
Okay, let's see. So Ivy has her hand raised one more time. I'm gonna go ahead and unmute her.
I'm sorry, that was an unintentional hand raise.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay. Let me go through the questions, make sure I didn't miss any. So we went over, is there any chance the bridge could be open temporarily for Memorial Day weekend and July 3rd to the 4th? Tyler, Mario?
I'll fill that.
Thank you.
Because the scope of work, we have a provision that in the event of hurricanes, we'll be able to temporarily lower the bridge and open it for traffic in an extreme situation so that we can assist with the storm evacuation if necessary. However, due to the extensive nature of the work, we're going to be having a lot of the grading and things that are going to be opened up, and it's going to be very hazardous. And since we're not 100% certain where that's going to fall relative to the holidays, it would probably be a very big risk to say that we would open it for pedestrians or vehicular traffic for those holiday seasons, especially once that closure starts. It's a very tight closure period. We have a lot of work that's going to need to be done mechanically and electrically. And for us to stop in the middle of that work for those holidays to do some restorative work to allow us to put traffic or pedestrians back on the bridge would actually be kind of, I'm looking for the right word. It would be
counterintuitive, maybe?
Yeah, it would be counterintuitive or cumbersome, or it would actually hinder the progress of the project because we're like going to take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back.
Thanks, Al. Okay. I think we ran through all the questions. We touched base on everything. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions or comments or concerns? Okay. So moving on to slide 19. So throughout construction, you can go ahead and contact myself or the project manager or anybody on the screen. Our contact information is listed so that throughout construction, you can go ahead and contact us with any questions, comments, or concerns. And that could be via email or via telephone. Moving on to slide 20. So this concludes the first portion, actually the virtual public meeting for the State Road 822 Sheridan Street Bridge Rehabilitation Project. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. Again, please don't hesitate to contact me throughout construction. Most of you have my information, and it was great seeing familiar names on here. Thank you.